I'm Breelyn, and I will be refuting Peter's claim that minimum wage has a negative effect in the workforce. My opponent's supporting claims are that minimum wage negatively affects hiring companies, minimum wage will harm the low-skilled workers, and minimum wage may not be that positive. In response to claim one, my opponent supported his claim with a quote stating that raising minimum wage doesn't increase the value of workers' labor, it increases the cost of workers' labor. It doesn't increase the value of the workers' labor, it increases the cost of the workers' labor. Supports the claim, this is supposed to support the claim that minimum wage has a negative impact on workers, but it doesn't support that it has it doesn't support that it has a negative impact on workers, but it supports that it has a negative impact on the workforce. In response to the second claim that minimum wage will harm the low-skilled workers, he supports it with a quote that says, "Young people will be harmed the most by increasing the minimum wage. Almost half of minimum wage workers are under 25 and 19% are teens. This group's unemployment rate is already higher than 4.9% overall unemployment rate. The teen unemployment rate is 15.6% and the African American teen unemployment rate is 27.6%. This source was not cited, and the quote also does not support the original claim being made that minimum wage has a negative effect in the workforce. A counter argument for minimum wage will harm low-skilled workers that I found on businesses.com states that minimum wage jobs are actually beneficial, that without minimum wage, low-skilled workers would not know what to expect when they go job hunting. It gets more people off of public assistance, wanting them to work harder to get out of their current situation, and also reduces the burden on tax resources. He also supports the claim of minimum wage will harm the low-skilled workers with it harms the people coming out of school, then states a quote, "More than half of all high school dropouts are functionally unable to read basic instructions or fill out an application." I found it difficult to find the relativeness to this quote, and it also was not cited in the sources bibliography. The source that was cited about the unemployment rate was PBS, but that same source also states that minimum wage has no effect on unemployment. For the third claim that minimum wage may not be that positive, the speaker backs this statement up with saying that it does not benefit all minimum wage workers. This was more of an opinion, and the source cited did not match up with this evidence. Although my opponent's presentation was presented effectively, I don't believe there were enough facts and details to support his claim.
All right. Well, you label the main and secondary claims on the first point. You signpost it pretty clearly. Spent a lot of time summarizing the advocate's argument, and then basically you say it comes down to, well, it doesn't talk about the impact on the workers. It's talking about the impact on the workforce. I'm going, okay. So what does that mean? Why is that important? How does that undermine the argument that's being presented? At best, that's a press about what the evidence means, but I'm not sure you've given me any reason to interpret it differently than what the advocate says on that point. When you get to the issue about young people, You're talking about the statistics about what the unemployment rates are among different groups of people. You basically challenge the lack of source citation on this, which it's a reasonable press to make, but I don't think that when you're dealing with data about unemployment rates that there's a high amount of credibility that's associated with those statistics. They're likely to come from fairly objective sources. And again, you kind of repeat your issue about how this is an impact on the workforce rather than the workers. I'm going, well, if you are in that workforce, why is it not affecting you? I think that I don't understand the way you're parsing that term and trying to suggest that it means something different or something that's important, that there's an important distinction that should be drawn, and as a result, we can't reach the conclusion that the advocate's talking about. I'm not sure that you've explained that very clearly. The argument about we need a minimum wage in order for people to know what it is they're getting into, and of course that there are some benefits to the minimum wage. I thought, okay, well, this is the start of a counterclaim that would really suggest a justification for continuing the minimum wage, but that's as far as you go, is you just make the claim and you don't really provide any evidence or resources to support that position. And so as a result, I think your counterclaim there is a little bit less effective than it could be. Again, you challenge the lack of sourcing, and it's, I think that's not necessarily the best argument you can make. I did like the idea that you said the advocate cited PBS, but PBS also said that there's a minimal impact on the unemployment rates. So maybe they're quoting out of the wrong side of PBS's mouth in one situation. I do think you want to have the quotes directly there so that we can look at that and not just assume that your summary of it is accurate. So it would be best if you had the direct quotes. At the end, it sounds like you're involved in giving us a critique of the speech instead of a response to the speech, and I also think that's a problem. Lots of reading is going on here, and you need to kind of connect with the audience and explain why your issues matter. All right, thank you.